Hey, it's had an interesting couple days. My daughter was jumping on her bed and was excited and fell off and broke her arm very severely. So much so that she needed surgery and has pins in her arm. So that was very fun. It was quite pleasant. But she's doing all right, but I'm low on sleep and should be, I don't know what. Anyways, what I wanted to talk about, my brother-in-law's moving up here. He's looking for work and he's staying with us while he interviews. And he does CAD work. So we went over that build. I think I showed you the build in the other, that early morning hand wiring let me sleep video. I'd really like it to have a nice wooden outside, but I don't know how to CAD stuff like that, but he does. So we spent a little bit of time CADing that out, and it would be pretty cool if I could get a company to have a block of wood and then mill all that stuff out, or route, I guess, I don't know what you would call it, all that stuff out, and then just have basically a one-piece construction with all the grain exposed and everything, and it would look really nice and be very solid too. But right now I think I'm just doing a test build. I'm heading to the laser cutter tonight. There's a number of things I need to cut, but I just did a quick redesign so that I could get a prototype of it's not the kitchen sink, it's going to be called something else. It's going to be pretty retro, I think. Pretty neat. But it'll have all the things in it in a little back area that sits behind the keyboard. Fitting everything in there is going to be interesting, and since everything's in different places, you kind of there's just going to be a lot of wires. So that'll be interesting. YouTube. Someone responded to my we've got an employee out on vacation, so I'm picking up the extra work, and I did a bad job the first day and then a really good job the second day, and then I was out at the hospital, so see if I can get caught up. And YouTube, someone commented on one of my vlogs saying that they have a problem or kind of addicted to YouTube. And I was like, how do I respond to this? Because I feel like I'm addicted to YouTube. Like, there's got to be more we can do. I don't know. So I just started typing a response, and what came out was pretty positive. I don't know. The thinking, like I say, the talking about it, and if you write it out, it helps. So you're thinking about things as you write them. And I certainly come to conclusions and realizations while I'm writing things out. Like I start an email with, I'm not really sure how to do it, and by the end of the email I know how to do it, and I go back and erase the beginning. But this comment, I was like, well, I've tried this and I've tried this, and this didn't work and this didn't work, but this worked, but not for YouTube. But I didn't really try it for YouTube. Maybe I should. So I did. I broke it out. I set up time blocks, so that I would keep track of how much time I was YouTubing, and then I had the limited time in it. And then as soon as that time started, I'm like, quickly start YouTubing. Like, I wanted to listen to this and I wanted to watch that, and since I'm squeezing more time in it, I started to listen at 2 times speed, because I'm mostly audio, just listening to interviews and discussions, stuff like that. So setting that to 2 times playback, you do have to focus a bit more, and I do miss a word every once in a while, but depending on the speaker, 2 times is the way to go, definitely. But I realized that I kind of wanted to, I don't know if you'd call it guilty pleasure, but the thing that I watch on YouTube somewhat guiltily is dash cam, like car crashes or near misses, because I like to drive and I'm very attentive and aware of what's going on around me, and I like to see the crashes, and I like to see if I can see what was gonna happen and like how to avoid it. And I think my dad does that too, because he had a crash that was a very odd scenario, and he actually had a dash cam, which by the way was a great idea for his insurance. And then he sent it to me, like he uploaded it to YouTube and then sent it to me, and I watched all the videos in sequence, and I'm like, I wouldn't have caught it, man. Like, no way. His moves were so strange, and like it was a very strange deviation. I'm like, I gotta be honest, I wouldn't have caught it. He's like, yeah, I know. I'm not really sure. I keep watching it, wondering if I could have had some indicator. So maybe it's that. But I realized that the dash cam videos were all video and no audio usually. And then the interviews were all audio, and I didn't really care about the video. So it's like, YouTube time, quick. Podcast, activate, double speed, switch to the tab to the dash cam crashes, mute, play. And I'm like listening, I don't know, I guess it's hyper efficient time wasting, hyper efficient YouTubing. Listening to audio of one thing and video of another, and enjoying both, and the audio is playing at 2 times speed. And then as soon as the time, well, I wasn't that good, but as soon as the time closed, I was like, I kind of want to finish this interview, give it, 5 more minutes. But I would like to, and this is something that I don't think I mentioned, we can give ourselves a Pavlovian response. I mentioned before that my watch helps me to keep track of time, because it, I can set it to beep every 5 minutes and then long beep every 15. I used it this morning, actually, while I was redesigning the layout of the kitchen sink. The Pavlovian response, right. So you can give yourself a Pavlovian response as long as you don't abuse it or misuse it. So I've used Pomodoro timers before, like online ones, and they have different options for sound effects. So being able to use something like that as a sound effect, and then set it for, you can practice it technically. Actually, practicing it is a good idea. Set it for every 5 minutes, and then like whenever you're working or whenever you're playing, not doing a thing that's directly work or getting distracted, you can set a 5-minute timer or a 3-minute timer, and then as soon as that alarm goes off, you make it an alarm that you don't use anywhere else, a foghorn or something like that. And then as soon as you hear that foghorn, just practice. As soon as you hear that foghorn, close the tab. Or Alt F4 space to shut down all the tabs, to close that entire window. Or I think Control Shift W will kill the entire browser session. So you have a separate browser where you might be YouTubing, or you might be researching something else, or you might be just taking a break on, and then as soon as you hear that foghorn, bam, kill it. And then once you get that linked response, then that'll work. Then you can set it for whatever the period of time is that you want to take a break for, and then as soon as that foghorn hits, bam, you'll close it without even thinking about it. So I guess you would have to start out doing something like that, do it like 10 times in a row, set it for like 10 seconds, and then just open a browser and then let it go off and then close it. Open a new browser, start the timer, let it go off and then close it. And then do it for like 10-minute segments. And you don't lose anything, obviously, unless you're like writing a response to someone and then you close that response. But any kind of videos, usually save where you were. So maybe that's a way to do it. I did have some pretty good success. So I'm going to try it again today and see how far I get. since I'm paying attention to all these things. I also noticed that day I had a lot of good focus, and I was drinking iced black tea, just black tea with nothing in it, not black in the sense of coffee. So maybe if this works or doesn't work, maybe I'll try that again later. Just trying to pay attention to all this stuff and really break down why I do these things and how to stop myself and pay attention when it works and pay attention when it doesn't. That's all I got. Hope this helps you too.